Emily Elizabeth, and I'm the host of the What Fulfills You podcast, a show for and about individuals always seeking to be their best selves. On this show, we talk all about building the mindset, finding the right careers, creating meaningful relationships, and so much more. Welcome to the What Fulfills You podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What Fulfills You. My name is Emily Elizabeth. I'm your host, and gosh, I love podcasting, and I love having this platform to be able to express my thoughts, to be able to share conversations that I have with other guests. And gosh, this really fulfills me, and I really feel the need to share this. And before I get into today's topic, I've just been thinking about the progress of this podcast and how amazing it has been to connect with each and every one of you on a personal level through Instagram and even in person as well. Fun fact, it's actually something that I'm in the works of doing, which is trying to figure out the best format to set up a very intimate community dinner full of What Fulfills You listeners in New York City. I'm hoping to do that this month in October. It's going to be somewhat last minute planning, but also not too last minute. It's going to be intimate, a little bit more well planned, and certainly meant to just connect more like-minded women in person. And here's the thing. I've seen a lot of events where there are women who, are just simply looking for new friendships and people who are more open. And there's also a lot of like entrepreneur female founder dinners and things like that. But something I love about the podcast community as I've come to grow with you guys and learn more about each individual listener is that a lot of you are somehow, some way driven by curiosity for personal growth in some way. And I think that's what I love about bringing those women all together for an intimate community dinner of, I'm talking like maximum 10 people, because I love that not everyone that listens is an entrepreneur or has a desire to be an entrepreneur. I once worked a 9-to-5, and I still remember what that feels like. And I still, once again, I don't think 9-to-5s or working in a corporate job is a bad thing. I don't disagree with going to school either. And so I'm excited to put together a dinner like that where women from this podcast community, from the surrounding area of New York or are within New York City, can all come together and can just chat, knowing that each person to some degree is on their own personal growth journey, and that is part of their top priorities. So for today's topic, I wanted to dive into habits and filling your own cup, a topic that I've talked about before and has seemed to impact a good bunch of you who listen. And specifically, I wanted to talk about this as we shift into fall season and the last 3 months of 2024, which is kind of wild to see. Again, the year has flown by very quickly. And I was thinking about this because I recently returned from a 3-week trip in Spain and Italy. And as I was gearing up to return to New York, one of the first things I did while I was still in Barcelona was writing down my vision and top priorities coming in Q4, what my October will look like in terms of what I will do to realign myself, to get back on track, and also to feel myself, and also to fill my own cup with my interests and hobbies and things that I've been doing before the trip that I recall made me feel this way even more recently than even earlier this year. And so a lot of times I've noticed people ask me, how do you implement this? Or how do you actually get going with filling your own cup, right? And when I talk to people about, okay, what is it that you want to do? Or what is it that you want to incorporate more of? They'll name the thing, but the missing element is that that thing that they want to do is not in their schedule at all. And so I understand, of course, we have work in our schedule and that helps pays the bills. It's an important part of our life. And then we've got other priorities and, taking care of the home, laundry, all of that. Okay, got it. But in between all of those things, what else are you doing? Are you watching Netflix, a TV show? Are you going to do casual hobbies like get a drink with a friend or going to happy hour more than once a week? What are those things that you could be replacing with the activity that would fill your cup? So, for example, in my case, I pre-plan each week, usually a week out. So like today is a Thursday. So I've already somewhat planned my Monday and Tuesday of next week in terms of, all right, any coffee meetings that are relevant for me to plan out ahead of time, or which days I'm going to play tennis, which days I'm going to go skate at the rink, which days I'm going to do Pilates, things like that. And for some of you, this might sound extremely anal in a way, in terms of like, wow, like that's a lot of pre-planning. But you guys, I'm not an extremely structured person. In fact, my partner would say like I'm way less organized than him, but that's one of my strong suits. I would say that I've come to become more aware of is that I am consistent in doing the things that I need to do to feel my best and to feel most like Emily. And tennis and skating are two activities that make me feel that way. So of course, I'm going to create time for those things, right? Mondays and Tuesdays, some days, earlier in the week, sometimes that's a little bit more difficult. And all right, if my schedule is more tight with work, then maybe I'll do tennis on a Wednesday and skating is like Thursday morning instead. You know what I mean? That is why I pre-plan, because I don't want to get closer to the week where I'm just like, or closer to the day, and I'm suddenly like, oh wow, like I don't have time for that. And I'm calling it a priority, but I'm not actually doing the thing that makes it a priority, right? So other ways that I ensure that these habits actually become real life and my reality on a day-to-day, I make sure that the evening before is set up so that I can do the thing that I planned for that is coming up in the next morning. So again, usually I play tennis in the morning, I usually skate in the morning or do whatever workout in the morning. And these are parts of the activities I listed prior to coming back from Spain. These are activities I listed that make me feel my best, and I need to get on it as soon as possible to get back into my routine and my normal habits. So for me, that's another reason why I love placing these activities earlier in the week, especially if it's not something that I do every day, because oftentimes on a Thursday or Friday, there's a higher chance that I might go to dinner with some friends, or I might go for a cocktail with a girlfriend. And I might actually do things where I might be sleeping a little bit later, where I might not go to bed until 10:30 or so, right? But other nights I'm going to be able to go to bed earlier because my night is less busy, or usually that evening I just stayed home. So in the morning, it's easy for me to get to my 6 or 7 a.m. workout. So all that to say, in regards to your weekly habits and filling your own cup, creating and finding time to do the things that actually make you feel joy and alive, think about how you can incorporate those activities more than just once a week. What if you want to get into like a pickleball league, right? And find some place that you can play twice a week, so that the repetition of doing the thing that fills your cup occurs more than once, right? And sometimes it's a trial and error. Maybe you're still figuring out some of those activities for yourself, what it is that you enjoy. I actually have a friend, she takes guitar lessons every other week or twice a month. And I know she's been doing this for a couple of years, and this is something that fills her cup. She started as a beginner, and she also once took piano lessons when we both lived in Los Angeles. And so that also for me inspired me to get back into music and to really pick up a hobby that is just so separate from my current world, if that makes sense. And I've been doing that actually since August. And so that's why this topic came to mind, because I realized as I was returning from Spain, I was thinking, wow, I really want to feel that feeling again that I felt in the middle of August, almost 2 months ago, where I just felt so myself. And I felt really fulfilled in the new activities and hobbies that I was picking up for no one but myself. And I realized that, okay, part of it is because I'm doing these things at minimum at least once a week. But for me, I know that I want to increase this feeling and make it more consistent. So my personal goal is to incorporate all of these different activities. Of course, the most important ones will have more priority, but to incorporate it more than once a week. So for me, tennis is usually 2 to 3 times a week, and skating is also usually 2 to 3 times a week. And so during this season, yes, maybe the gym gets a back burner a little bit. Maybe that's only once a week where I'm lifting, or I'm doing Pilates only once a week. But for me, I just know I have so much joy in those activities where I get to, play with other tennis friends, have conversations with them as well. So it really hits both like the social bucket and the mental and physical health bucket. And I love that aspect. And these are things that I think about when I am crafting my weekly habits and putting them into my calendar. I can't emphasize enough, you have to put in your habits and your priorities into your calendar, and you got to do it in advance in order for it to actually stick. And so if you're listening right now and you feel a little stuck and you know that you want to make some shifts in your life, but you don't know where to start, this is 100% the easiest way to do it. Put it in your calendar. And if it's something that you need to book ahead, maybe it's a music class or a pottery class or a dance class, then book it today. Stop waiting and procrastinating. You know that you're probably procrastinating because you're scared to actually commit to it. Well, which one is it that you want? Do you actually want to commit and change a part of your life and change a little bit of the direction and the way you feel on a day-to-day? Or would you rather just stay in the same place that you're at right now? Only you can answer that. So it is up to you on how you make the decision to reroute your life if this is something that you need. But personally, I've done this in the recent months. I've really enjoyed it. I've also done major shifts as well in the recent year and a half, and especially bringing tennis and skating back more consistently into my life. And I've had a big change since then, and I've felt more myself as these things have come to fruition. And so I hope you guys can find that feeling for yourself as well, especially as we all navigate adult life, and it's very easy to forget about the hobbies or things that made us feel joy and playful as children. I think it's important we find a way to return to that. That is all for today's episode. I hope this was thought-provoking and helpful. And as always, I love your feedback and I love conversing with you guys, especially when there's a topic that really hits well for you. So please be sure to let me know, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. And you can also personally message me on Instagram at whatfulfillsyou or at Emily E. Duong. You can find all of the socials, the YouTube channel, the email newsletter, everything you can find in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in today. I would chat with you all next time.